So I'm a pupil, so I have, and I literally just completed the BPTC, so a lot of this is fairly recent for me, and I'm kind of working with it on the ground. So I'll start with the final question, because I think that we were pretty unanimous on the fact that pupil supervisors should not be allowed to supervise more than one pupil. This was from experience of people who had supervised people in the past. They said it was very difficult to provide that level of training. And also from my perspective, I've met some pupils who are in some pretty difficult relationships with fellow pupils. And again, I reiterate your point about competition between pupils. Pupils will ask stupid questions, and you will feel less able to ask those stupid questions that, quite frankly, you need the answers to if you're in a situation with one other person and you're competing, even though that might not be a reality. So I think that really has to stay as it is, although we did agree that the requirement to re-register every time you change a pupil supervisor is just bureaucracy that doesn't benefit anyone, either the BSB, chambers, or pupils themselves. Moving on to the variation in length, we agreed it should be not less than 12 months. This was looking at, for solicitors, it's 2 years, although obviously that's different. And that even if, I think the general feeling was that it should stay as it is, but even if it was extended, it would have to have a maximum point to prevent basically perpetual pupillage, with the golden apple being dangled of tenancy in front of you, and just you basically staying as what will effectively be a paralegal, especially if there's changes to the practice certificate for years, which is not why people go into this job. Moving on to the minimum wage, it's pretty ridiculous. This is my own personal view, but I did put some figures. So if you're graduating now, you've got £27,000 at least in debt for loans, 18,000 on maintenance loans, 19,000 on the bar, that's 52 grand, and also supporting yourself in that. That's a heck of a lot of money. And as a profession that really is, in some ways and from some quarters, competing for its relevance, really what is important is to get people from different backgrounds into this, but also getting the best people into it. And if you can go to a city law firm and get paid 4 times that amount for, albeit not particularly the job you want to do, that's really not going to help this profession from an accessibility and simply from getting the best people. So we felt that you did have to raise it. We thought that having a benchmark that moves with years is a good idea, so something like the living wage, so that we don't all sit here in 10 years' time and have exactly the same conversation about it going up, because that's really a waste of everybody's time when we can deal with this now. We also spoke about the fact that in the consultation the role of the inns is in question, and a lot of inns can provide support to pupils at the moment who are on low fees. So I know people at Lincoln's Inn, I'm not a Lincoln's Inn myself, who currently get like free accommodation in Lincoln's if they're on particularly low-paying pupillages. Now, reducing the role of the inns, I think, is something that really needs to be looked at holistically as part of that, because I think the inns can provide support in that way, whether the inns would be prepared to sponsor or top up certain pupillages if the pupillages were, of course, assessed as being appropriate and not simply just providing free labour, then that's something for the inns to look at and something to be explored. But definitely the fact that even in some cases, not even a living wage, pupils can be paid below the minimum wage is, quite frankly, for this profession, a little bit ridiculous. So we were quite unanimous on that point.
Okay, thank you very much, Rebecca.